The veil of secrecy lifts tonight. Evil pact, signed in bunker. Ford unleashes Carmageddon on Detroit. And TSR2 flies then goodbyes. Plus, coming up, we ask, is the secret to long life living in a world made entirely of rubber? Those are the headlines. My tongue is a spoon.
News bang, piercing the shroud of misinterpretation with a blade of unyielding fact. A 1940.
Nazi Germany, Fascist Italy, and the Empire of Japan have formed a dubious alliance they're calling the Axis of Slightly Evildoers Club. The agreement, scribbled on a cocktail napkin in a Berlin beer cellar, stipulates that if any of the three nations are attacked, the others must immediately dispatch their most ill-tempered soldiers.
Eyewitnesses report that Hitler, Mussolini, and Hirohito celebrated the pact with a group hug and a stirring rendition of "We Are the Champions." Local barkeep Hans Schnitzel remarked, "I've never seen three grown men so giddy about global domination."
The pact aims to establish a new world order, with Germany controlling Europe's sausage supplies, Italy monopolizing the pasta market, and Japan cornering the sushi industry. When asked about potential American interference, Hitler reportedly scoffed. Those cheeseburger-loving simpletons wouldn't recognize a world order if it bit them on the apple pie.
1908.
The world of transportation was irrevocably altered today when Henry Ford unleashed his metal monstrosity upon an unsuspecting public. The Model T, a rickety contraption of wheels, gears, and dubious engineering, lurched off the production line, leaving onlookers horrified and horses contemplating early retirement.
Eyewitnesses report that the infernal machine coughed, sputtered, and emitted a variety of unnatural noises. "It's like a one-horse carriage that swallowed a steam engine," exclaimed Mildred Throttlebottom, local purveyor of gossip and strong opinions.
Ford's revolutionary assembly line, which involved workers frantically assembling cars while being harassed by trained squirrels, allowed for unprecedented mass production. "We can churn out these mechanical beasts faster than you can say mass-produced mediocrity," boasted Henry Ford with a maniacal gleam in his eye.
The Model T's affordability sent shockwaves through society. Now even the village imbecile can acquire a motor car, lamented Lord Fancypants, local aristocrat and part-time monocle model.
1964.
The TSR-2, Britain's latest attempt to defy gravity and bankruptcy, took to the skies today. This marvel of over-engineered ingenuity, designed to inspire awe in our enemies and mild panic in our allies, roared into the air like a drunken albatross with a turbocharged toothache.
Eyewitnesses report that the plane's maiden flight was memorable, to say the least. One bemused farmer, Clive Pigswallow, exclaimed, "Blimey! It sounds like me Auntie Mabel trying to start a tractor after a night on the cider."
The aircraft, rumoured to cost more than the entire annual output of Belgium, boasts a state-of-the-art radar system capable of detecting a fly on a wedding cake from 50 paces. However, sources say it struggles to differentiate between a landing strip and a field of sheep.
Despite a few minor hiccups, such as accidentally declaring war on Luxembourg during a training exercise, officials remain optimistic. "We're confident this flying money pit will strike fear into the hearts of our enemies," declared Marshal Reginald Puffington, assuming we can convince it to land without exploding.
Nazi Station de Couille. News bang, the trusty hand that gives you a hearty slice of the truth.
And now, for a forecast more chaotic than a mosh pit at a Morris dancing festival, it's the one and only Shakanaka Giles.
Evening. Viewers, down south expect a morning shower, so brief it'll make a blinkered donkey look decisive. Then, sunshine hotter than a Vindaloo competition. Just enough time for a quick pint in the beer garden before the heavens unleash a torrent worthy of Noah's Ark. Up north, A right blusterer is blowing in, a wind so fierce it could turn a toupee into a frisbee. Perfect weather for sheltering indoors with a nice cuppa and a good moan. Over in the Midlands, it's a meteorological free-for-all. Rain, wind, hail, possibly frogs. You name it, they're getting it. Best stay indoors, folks, and build an ark out of your old copies of the Radio Times. And finally, in Scotland, sunshine. Yes, you heard that right. Wall-to-wall sunshine. The sort of weather that makes you want to break out the sunscreen and a kilt. Just watch out for those haggis. They tend to get a bit frisky in the heat. And that's all the weather.
(1981).
Things are about to get explosive in the Persian Gulf. It's 1981 and the Iranians are giving those Iraqi chaps a right royal shoeing in Operation Saman ol-Aimeh. Word on the front lines is that tanks are tangoing, artillery's singing arias, and the air support is like a scene out of Star Wars, only with less Wookiees and more explosions. For a live update on this desert dust-up, we go to our man on the ground, Brian Bastable, who's currently dodging shrapnel and sandflies. Brian, what in Allah's name is going on?
Martin, Abadan is a symphony of destruction. Imagine a fireworks factory having a disco party in a sandstorm. The air is thick with smoke, the stench of cordite, and the faint aroma of burning kebab. Those brave Iranian lads are charging the Iraqi lines like a horde of angry gazelles. Their AK-47s chattering like 1,000 caffeinated monkeys. The ground is littered with the detritus of war, Martin. Spent shell casings, mangled tanks, and enough abandoned footwear to start a discount shoe emporium. I swear I just saw a camel wearing a gas mask and riding a unicycle. It's that kind of day. But it's not all fun and games, Martin. The fighting is brutal, the casualties are mounting, and the human cost is almost too much to bear. I just saw a young soldier, his face barely visible beneath the grime, cradling a wounded comrade in his arms. The look in his eyes, Martin, was a testament to the horrors of this conflict. This is a battle for the ages, Martin, a clash of civilizations, a fight for survival. And as the sun sets on this blood-soaked battlefield, I can only pray that one day peace will prevail. This is Brian Bastable, Newsbang, signing off from a place where sanity has taken a holiday, and death is the only constant companion.
1975.
On this day in 1975, Spain's Franco regime carried out its final executions, sending 5 political dissidents to their deaths. The victims, members of ETA and FRAP, met their fate amidst a storm of international outrage. The executions, far from silencing opposition, ignited a firestorm of protest that would hasten the regime's demise. For more on this grim chapter in Spanish history, we turn to our crime correspondent, Ken Schitt. Ken, I understand you've been investigating the long-term fallout of these executions?
Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up for a trip back to 1975, when Spain was still under the iron fist of that fascist fuckwit Franco. 5 poor bastards, 2 from ETA and 3 from FRAP, got the short end of the executioner's stick, becoming the last sorrysods to face the firing squad in sunny España. These revolutionary rascals, Angel Otaegui, Juan Paredes Mano, Humberto Baena, José Luis Sánchez Bravo Solas, and José Angel Rodríguez Salas, thought they were fighting the good fight against Franco's fascist fuckery. But instead of medals, they got bullets. The trials? About as fair as a 3-legged donkey in a horse race. Franco's goons played judge, jury, and executioner, serving up justice with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer to the nuts. The world went apeshit. Protests erupted like a volcano of righteous anger from Madrid to Moscow. Even the Pope got his holy knickers in a twist. But Franco, that crusty old dictator, just flipped the bird to global opinion and kept on keeping on. but karma's a bitch, and Franco kicked the bucket just 2 months later. These executions were the death rattle of his regime, the last gasp of a dying dictatorship. So, raise a glass to these 5 unlucky bastards. They may have been the last to face the firing squad, but they fired up a nation's hunger for democracy. This is Ken Shit, reminding you that sometimes you've got to break a few eggs to make a freedom omelette. Good fucking night, and vive la révolution.
A night to see Saturtil, 1941.
And on this day in 1941, America launched its first Liberty ship, the SS Patrick Henry, kicking off a maritime revolution that would change the course of World War II. These floating fortresses of freedom, churned out faster than you can say Rosie the Riveter, became the backbone of the Allied war effort. With 2,710 ships built, it was like Henry Ford had a love child with Poseidon. For more on this nautical nostalgia, we go to our American correspondent, Melody Wintergreen.
This is Melody Wintergreen, reporting from the historic shipyards of Newport News, Virginia, where a new chapter in American history is about to unfold. For it was here, on this very day 83 years ago, that the SS Patrick Henry, the first of 2,710 Liberty ships, was launched, a momentous event that would come to symbolize the industrial might and patriotic fervor that would propel the United States to victory in the Second World War. As the mighty vessel slid down the ways, christened by the steadfast hand of President Franklin D. Roosevelt himself, the roar of the crowd echoed across the shipyard, a thunderous chorus celebrating the dawn of a new era. For these Liberty ships, with their standardized modular designs, would be the workhorses of the Allied war effort, carrying vital supplies, troops, and materiel across the perilous Atlantic to the front lines of freedom. In the shadow of the SS Patrick Henry, the air crackles with a palpable sense of anticipation. Shipwrights, engineers, and laborers, their faces etched with determination, toil around the clock, driven by a shared purpose to churn out these vessels at a breakneck pace. Their hammers ring out like the heartbeat of a nation, each strike a testament to the indomitable American spirit. Yet, this is no mere feat of engineering, my friends. No, this is a grand symphony of industry, a virtuoso performance of logistics and coordination that would make even the most seasoned maestro green with envy. For as these Liberty ships slide down the ways, one after another, they carry with them the hopes and dreams of a nation, the promise of a future where freedom and democracy will reign supreme. So, as the SS Patrick Henry sets sail, her cargo hold brimming with the tools of war, let us raise a glass to the men and women who made this moment possible. For in the annals of history, this day will be remembered as the dawn of a new era, when the United States, through sheer force of will and industrial might, turned the tide of the war and set the world on a course towards lasting peace. Melody Wintergreen, Newsbang, reporting from the historic shipyards of Newport News, Virginia.
News Bang, spreading truths, thick as honey on your tongue. 1875.
And now, for a tale of maritime heroism that'll have you reaching for your sea legs, we turn to our resident time-traveling sports correspondent, Ryder Boff. Ryder, take us back to 1875 and the daring rescue of the Ellen Southard.
And now we travel back to 1875 for a splashing sports story that'll have you gripping your life jackets. The Ellen Southard, an American ship with more wood than Pinocchio's family reunion, found herself in a spot of bother off the coast of Liverpool. The weather turned nastier than my ex-wife's solicitor, and before you could say Davy Jones' locker, the poor girl was floundering like a drunk flamingo on an ice rink. But wait, here come the heroes of our tale, the Liverpool lifeboat lads, led by Captain Horatio Salty Spume. These brave souls with arms like ship's masts and hearts as big as boys set out to rescue the Ellen's crew. It was a scene more dramatic than the time I accidentally wore my budgie smugglers to a black tie dinner at the BBC. Waves higher than Sebco after winning gold, winds howling like a pack of wolves with indigestion, and our intrepid rescuers bouncing about like ping-pong balls in a tombola. They managed to pluck the crew from the jaws of Poseidon himself, only for their own boat to do a backflip that would make an Olympic gymnast jealous. Tragically, we lost some good men that day, 9 from the Ellen Southard and 3 of Liverpool's finest. It's a stark reminder that Mother Nature plays a tougher game than any Premier League striker. But let's not forget the 27 heroes who received gold life-saving medals from the US Congress. That's more gold than you'd find in Mr. T's jewelry box. Speaking of medals, it reminds me of the time I won the 3-legged race at the BBC Sports Day. My partner was none other than Des Lynam, and let me tell you, that man has the grace of a gazelle when he's not tied to a sports reporter with a dodgy knee. This tale of nautical derring-do just goes to show that whether you're on a football pitch or the high seas, teamwork makes the dream work. And if you ever find yourself on a sinking ship, just remember, swim towards the light and hope it's not another bloody ship. Next week, we'll be looking at the thrilling world of Victorian lawn bowls. Until then, keep your balls polished and your grass trimmed. I've been Ryder Boff, and I'll see you on the other side of the time machine.
For a traffic report more bewildering than a roundabout in a hall of mirrors, it's Polly Beep.
Hiya, my motorway marvels. Polly Beep here, your time-travelling traffic guru with a look at the roads less travelled and the ones you might want to avoid altogether. First up, it's 1908 and Detroit's streets are clogged tighter than a chimney on Christmas Eve. Henry Ford's Model T is causing absolute pandemonium, with folks gawking and rubbernecking like they've never seen a horseless carriage before. If you're headed to the Piquette Avenue plant, pack a picnic and a good book because you'll be there a while. Zooming back to 1854, and the River Thames has turned into a giant toilet. That's right, folks, a stinky soup of sewage is flowing through London, so hold your noses and steer clear of any boat trips. And finally, back to the present day, where the M25 is moving slower than a snail in treacle. Rumour has it they're thinking of adding a toll booth every 100 yards, just for a laugh. This is Polly Beep, signing off. Remember, time travel might be exciting, but good old-fashioned traffic jams are eternal.
1964.
Here's Calamity Prenderville with a special report on a supersonic milestone in British aviation history.
Good evening, science enthusiasts. Today marks the 60th anniversary of a momentous event in British aviation history. On this day in 1964, the TSR-2, or Terribly Speedy Rocket 2, as we like to call it, took to the skies for the first time.
This marvel of British engineering was designed to zip across the Iron Curtain faster than you can say fish and chips. Powered by 2 Rolls-Royce Olympus engines, rumour has it the TSR-2 could outrun a cheetah on roller skates.
The brainchild of Dr. Reginald Puffington Smythe, the TSR-2, boasted cutting-edge features like a tea-making facility and a built-in fish and chip fryer for those long reconnaissance missions. Its advanced terrain-following radar was so precise, it could detect a badger's burrow from 30,000 feet.
However, the TSR-2 faced some teething problems. During one test flight, the automatic flight control system mistook a flock of sheep for enemy tanks, causing quite a stir in the Welsh countryside.
Sadly, the TSR-2 programme was cancelled in 1965, allegedly due to budget constraints. But conspiracy theorists claim it was because the aircraft was too advanced for its time. Some say it could travel through time, and the government feared it might accidentally prevent the invention of bongo. Today, we remember the TSR-2 as a testament to British innovation and our ability to create aircraft that are equal parts brilliant and bonkers. This is Calamity Prendeville, signing off from Newsbang's Science Watch. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to test my own time-travelling toaster.
News Bang. Dancing with the Dangerous, Married to the Factual. Tatende 1917.
New York City's theatrical landscape was forever altered today as the Broadhurst Theatre flung open its doors, unleashing upon an unsuspecting public the intellectual onslaught of George Bernard Shaw's Misalliance. One can only imagine the sheer pandemonium as theatregoers grappled with Shaw's wit and the novelty of a fresh venue. Reports suggest some patrons were so overwhelmed they mistook their programs for life rafts. For more on this earth-shattering event and its repercussions on modern sock puppetry, we go to our culture correspondent, Smithsonia Moss.
Now at this point of the evening, we welcome listeners on FM who've just joined us.
Whoa, my little monsters. It's your girl Smithsonia Moss, coming at you from the streets of the Big Apple circa 1917. Buckle up, bitches, because we're about to take a wild ride back in time to the grand opening of the Broadhurst Theatre. Picture this. New York City, the center of the universe, where dreams are made and crushed faster than you can say, Broadway baby. On this fateful night, the Broadhurst Theatre opened its doors to the clamoring masses, ready to blow their minds with a little play called Misalliance by some dude named George Bernard Shaw. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who the fuck is George Bernard Shaw? Well, let me tell you, honey. He was like the Shakespeare of his time, but with more sass and less tights. And Misalliance, it was his magnum opus, a play so scandalous, so provocative, that it made the Puritans clutch their pearls and the Bohemians cream their jeans. The Broadhurst Theatre was the hottest ticket in town, and everyone who was anyone was there. The lobby was packed with the creme de la creme of New York society, all dolled up in their finest furs and jewels, sipping champagne and gossiping about who was sleeping with whom. But enough about the riffraff. Let's talk about the real star of the show, the theater itself. Designed by the legendary architect Herbert J. Krapp, the Broadhurst was a fucking masterpiece. It had everything: a grand staircase, plush velvet seats, and enough gold leaf to make King Midas jizz his pants. And with a seating capacity of 1155, it was big enough to fit all the egos on Broadway. As the curtain rose on Misalliance, the audience was transported to a world of upper-class twits, feminist rabble-rousers, and enough sexual tension to power a small city. The play was a riot, with Shaw's trademark wit and biting social commentary on full display. The actors chewed the scenery like it was a fucking steak dinner, and the audience ate it up like the hungry little piggies they were. But the real climax of the evening came during the curtain call, when George Bernard Shaw himself took the stage to thunderous applause. He bowed and preened like a fucking peacock, basking in the adoration of his adoring fans. And then, in a moment of pure, unadulterated genius, he dropped his pants and mooned the entire audience. The gasps and shrieks of shock and delight could be heard all the way to Timbuktu. And that, my darlings, is the story of how the Broadhurst Theatre opened with a bang and a moon. It was a night that would go down in history as one of the most unforgettable moments in Broadway history. And if you don't believe me, you can kiss my lily-white ass. This has been Smithsonia Moss, your guide to the wild and wacky world of culture. Tune in next time for more uncensored, unfiltered, and unfuckwithable realness. Peace out, bitches.
News Bang. Snapping the cord of falsehoods.
And finally, a quick spin through tomorrow's papers. The Times. US flyers complete. Round the world trip in a plane. The Telegraph go with Filipinos get stuck into Yanks in nasty island ambush. And Canadians give Soviets a good thrashing on the ice rink. That's The Independent. The Mirror. Boffin finds huge old fishbone in his car. That's the whole of the Mirror's front page, actually. And The Sun have French dog woofs loudly for 11 years. Well, that's it. Just time for me to read the week's small print bit about the shipping forecast. Then I'm going home to weep. Newsbang returns on Saturday. It probably will anyway.
Tune in next time for more artificially intelligent hilarity. Newsbang is a comedy show written and recorded by AI. All voices impersonated. Nothing here is real. Good night.